huge push for Penelope, I think, lately. But yeah, I think Aleister Black having that program with Big E and then having him just get released and stopping that program altogether was weird. And then to have him show up very quickly after in AEW in the most spectacular fashion I could think of. And they sold it to us throughout the night. That was the thing I appreciated the most about his debut is they had the power go out earlier. The lights went off and then they came back on. And when Cody was out and he was like, what's going on? Because he was cutting a promo and he was like, oh, there's weather in the area. So I just believed it. I just, they sold me a ticket.
They worked you. Yes.
Yeah. And then there he is standing in the ring, still selling the eye.
Beautiful.
So good.
Yes. That man clearly loves professional wrestling.
The eye that was destroyed by another guy who got released from the WWE.
Right.
Yeah.
We know it's so easy to just lament about WWE, but to your point, that we know what they're capable of. They can put on amazing content, and I agree with you that hopefully this brings out the best in Vince and the higher ups over there, because we know when they are inspired, when they are incentivized, when they are challenged, they can put on some great shows and really utilize the amazing talents they have on that roster. They can do it. They show us that, just not as frequently as we want.
Right. Yeah. It's unfortunate because I love the WWE. There are days where I'm like, I don't want to watch this crap. And then I watch it and I'm like, oh, there was one good thing. And if there's one good thing, then I feel like I didn't waste my time. It's just really hard now with social media when I can catch that one good thing on Twitter or on Instagram.
Right.
And I feel like there's so many gaps in time that I can get up and go do something because of the 5-minute vignettes. It feels like every week is a pay-per-view, but in the worst way, where they're doing the thing, showing you all the stuff leading up to this big match, but all it is an advertisement for this big match that's not happening next. It's happening later. I don't need all that. Like, get rid of that. You could have fit in at least 2 more matches on SmackDown, maybe 3 more matches on SmackDown, if you simply got rid of all that other stuff. But they wanted to have storytelling. And I think that's the difference between wrestling entertainment or not even wrestling entertainment, sports entertainment, and professional wrestling. Is the pro wrestling is we get the wrestling and we get the promos. Sports entertainment is we get a 24/7 title challenge by an ice cream truck, or we get which I thought was great, by the way. I feel like they're doing that title right now anyway.
Yeah.
They haven't for so long. I thought it was kind of ridiculous that they interrupted the Austin Theory Jeff Hardy match with a 24/7 title run-in, but watching Reginald leapfrog people and dive out of the rings in spectacular fashion is always entertaining. None of that is story. It's not story, it's running joke. And I think that's the difference. It's like, I'm not invested in the story of the 24/7 title. It's just sort of the thing they do. And right now, that's sort of how I feel about most of it. Like the women's tag titles, I feel like it's just a thing they do. Not really what's the best women's tag team they have that didn't get released?
Right. Well, and speaking of women, I think that's been my favorite part of really re-engaging with professional wrestling, is to see how the strides that have been made for women in the business across companies. The fact that women are now seen as athletes of the same caliber as their male counterparts. And I wish that the women's tag team division and the belts were treated better in WWE. And I also wish in AEW that women were... I mean, the women's division AEW it's definitely not perfect. You know, you and I love the talents that are in the AEW women's division and in WWE, but we really want to see them get more time and be utilized better. I think both companies can learn from Impact Wrestling and what they're doing. They had their knockouts. Yes, they had their knockouts knockdown recently, which was sort of widely applauded. Even NWA had their Empower show. So there are companies not named.
Women of Wrestling is starting up again.
Yes, there are companies not named World Wrestling Entertainment, All Elite Wrestling that are doing this right, and not just signing women and having women on the roster, but giving them the time to tell stories, giving them more than just 2 to 3 minutes on TV. We had this on our agenda, so I have to mention it. I absolutely love what Deonna Purrazzo is doing right now. We have Bound for Glory next weekend, and that match between her and Mickey James, that is. I'm speaking like I know Mickey James. That match is something that I am so looking forward to. They had this really wonderful sort of barn fight where Deonna drove to Mickey's barn, hardcore country, and just it was so pro wrestling, just fighting in a barn and really building for this program that's going to culminate at their Bound for Glory pay-per-view. I just love what Deonna Purrazzo is doing right now as the virtuosa against someone else who wasn't really seen as valuable enough to be used in WWE because it's just so large, as you said, Brad. The work she's doing is incredible, and on that same show, you have the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics, who are getting a tag team title shot. So women's wrestling right now is so wonderful, and really I think aside from Roman Reigns or Hangman Page is really my favorite part of the business is just learning about these women and watching them go to work, and particularly in Impact be given time to do this. You mentioned Sasha and Bianca at their program and their match at WrestleMania, which is one of my favorite matches in WrestleMania history. That was a moment I remember, but the build was terrible for it.
It was the worst build
Just
I've ever
awful.
seen
Yeah.
for a match. A match that was that important.
Right. Right. It was just not good. So I'm being long-winded here, but with Deanna's work and all the names we've already spoken about, whether that be Britt Baker in AEW, Sasha Banks or Becky Lynch, or Bianca Belair in WWE, I just love the women we get to see, Brad, and I want to see more of them.
Yeah, I agree. I love watching Sasha work. Everything she does is so fluid. She may be the best wrestler pound for pound on the planet, and that's including everybody, men, women, whatever. Watching her work is incredible. Becky, also incredible. She did a thing in that match, that Sasha match on SmackDown, that blew my mind. It wasn't a kip up. She just sort of floated up and used her core to come off from I don't even know how to describe it. Her head was by her feet and she just stood up like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And Sasha was on top of her when she did it. I don't understand how it was possible. It's one of the wildest things I've ever seen. And I don't think I saw anybody talk about it. Nobody was tweeting about it. It is the craziest feat of strength I've seen in a very long time. Probably since Bianca put Otis on her shoulders and ran around the ring after Bayley.
Who could forget that? Yes.
I mean, it's just insane. I did think that the women got a lot more time this week on specifically on Dynamite with a couple of different promos and a couple of matches. Right, there was at least one match. It was the Kiera Hogan and Penelope Ford match where Ruby had a run in the end.
Yes. Ruby Soho.
Yes, Ruby Soho, another talent released by the WWE. Just incredible. And I'm trying to think of who else was on the match. There was the squash match where Moxley just absolutely beat the piss out of Wheeler Yuta.
Beautiful.
I mean, just murdered him.
Yeah, and then just left after.
Just killed him and legitimately just dipped. That was crazy. We had the Deeb interview. We had the Anna Jay thumping Britt in the chest. Kiera Hogan versus Penelope Ford. And I think that was it for the women, but at least we had 3 separate women's spots on the show. Even if 2 of them were promos and 1 of them was a match, I felt good that at least they were getting airtime, because I even feel like with the women's match sort of taking away having their time taken away, we're also missing time from more tag team matches when we have tons of tag teams. We did get one and we got a really good one, but there's just so many tag teams. We haven't seen Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus wrestle in a tag match in forever. It's been trios or 6-man or whatever. So I haven't seen a tag. I'm missing tag time, but I can't think of a single women's tag that I've seen outside of, I think, it wasn't even Britt. It was Rebel and Jamie Hayter, right?
Right. Yeah.
They wrestled somebody. I don't remember who they wrestled.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was Tay Conti and Anna Jay. I don't remember who it was. But there's just not a lot of tag teams, women's tag teams I'd like to see more of in general, and actual tag teams. Like the Iconics were right there. The Riot Squad was right there. They were taken away, and then you went, oh, there's no tag teams.
Yeah.
So let's throw these two together and see if it works.
Yeah. Yeah, we have these belts, but we just continue to throw together baby faces. Not established tag teams, just two women who maybe aren't doing anything or don't have any substantial programs going on right now. But
right.
But alas, the talent remains, and looking at our notes here, man, I just love all of these people. Like we've mentioned so many names in both companies, and then we give a shout out to Impact, and I think the future here in these next upcoming weeks with Bound for Glory. Well, first we have Crown Jewel, and then Bound for Glory, and ultimately Full Gear. I think the stories we're gonna see and the developments are gonna be super exciting. Big E is the champ on Raw, and that makes me very happy. You and I are huge New Day fans.
Yes.
So I can't wait to see the directions that are going to be taken as the I don't know if we can call it a Friday Night War, but as these companies, particularly AEW and WWE, compete for viewership and for our attention and our dollars, I think we're going to see some inspired work happen. Competition, like you said, is healthy, and we know from wrestling past, competition has led to some very memorable moments and programs, and the fans, all of us, are the winners in the end.
Well said. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year, the rest of this week. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch what happens. WWE does pay-per-views so well, for the most part. Even if one or two matches on the card end up not working out super well, usually know you're going to get a great main event. You're probably going to get a great opening match. There's probably going to be something that surprises us during the match. I'm looking forward to Thursday, even though we'll be watching it, Thursday night, definitely not when it's on. I can't wait for the weekend. I can't wait for Dynamite. I can't wait for Rampage. I'm definitely a shill for AEW, and I'm not ashamed of it, but WWE is sort of where my heart is, and it's hard to have that breakup, just because of the history, the experience, my own personal experience with the company, yours as well. I think most people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But watching the business grow and expand in the independents and the smaller companies, even Ring of Honor is doing really good stuff right now. So there's all sorts of good things happening in the world of pro wrestling, and we all win and we all benefit.
Yes, we do. Well said, my friend. I think that is a great note to go out on. Thank you all so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed episode 1. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. Please like, subscribe,